Maybe we can pull this out the bag. Hydreigon goes Focus Energy. You have got some giant balls. You have some enormous balls. How you doing, guys? Matt Manectric here. We're back on the Battle Stadium ladder with a brand new team. This one's featuring Medicham and Gyarados, and it's really cool. It was made by Nora Bowman, or Bubs Pokemon on Twitter, PKMN. All links will be in the description. And she managed to top cut San Diego Regionals with it, going 8-2 in Swiss, and was seed 17 going into the top cut. Yeah, super cool. So just a few things about it. You've got Fake Out, Trick Room, Medicham, which you'll be really surprised by how good Medicham actually is. It hits so hard with that pure power ability. Very similar ability to what Azumarill has, where it doubles the attack stat. You've got the Intimidate Safe Duels Gyarados as well. So maybe you can find an opportunity to go for Dragon Dance and then start going for the Terra Blast, Flying, and Waterfall. Great option against Amoonguss. And you got a Mimikyu there, which is very offensive, very reminiscent of another Mimikyu that did really, really well in the tournament with the Life Orb. But yeah, and then the rest of it's fairly standard. I suppose the only other thing to mention would be the King Gambit being Terra Water. I think that's a really good option for beating those, for Terra Fire, Tauros, for Arcanine, things like that. Any other fire types, obviously. Jumping into our first game then, guys, we've got a Hatterene, an Amoonguss, a Gastrodon, a Torkoal, a King Gambit, and a Murkrow. Looks very Trick Roomy, and let's see if we can take advantage of that, shall we? As I said, very, very slow team. Now, there is a Murkrow, which implies that it can go with Tailwind, but I think 4 of those Pokemon have lower than 40 base speed, and the King Gambit has 50, and then Murkrow's at about 60. So I can't imagine they're gonna be moving too fast, even with the Tailwind up. If it is a Tailwind, the Murkrow might actually be there just for the Dondozo, so it can haze. So it's probably not going to be bringing that. It's likely going to be the Amoonguss Hatterene lead. So the question is, how do we break that, right? So I'm actually thinking we lead Mimikyu with... Oh, Gyarados actually has Safe Drills, doesn't it? So if I had a Pokemon that can hit both... that can hit both team members, plus have Safe Drills to target the Hatterene, I think it's going to have to be Gyarados. So we can go Heat Wave into the Hatterene and Amoonguss, and then go for the Waterfall Terra Blast into the Hatterene as well. I'm going to bring Medicham because it's cool, and I want King Gambit because it's bulky with the Assault Vest. Did I not bring an Amoonguss? I feel like Amoonguss I probably should have brought. It's fine. Doesn't matter, we'll be okay. We'll see how we get on with this. If I get this lead wrong, then this could be a very quick game. Hopefully I've called the lead right. It is, of course, Hatterene and Amoonguss. Now, as much as I would love to click Waterfall here, there is a Gastrodon on the opposition team, and I'm not about to risk that, and I think I'm comfortable with Terrestrializing first turn. Yeah, I think I'm okay with that. So we're going to go for the Heat Wave, and, no, you just want to set Trick Room, and you've got no idea that I'm safe to goggles, do you? Alright, no, I'm going to go for the Waterfall. I think we'll be okay. There's the Rage Powder that we were waiting for. So, Hydreigon goes for the Heat Wave. That does not do quite as much damage as I was hoping for. We actually crit the Hatterene as well. That's a little bit concerning. We got a double crit thanks to that Scope Lens. The Waterfall comes out from Gyarados. It's nowhere near enough. And the Trick Room goes up regardless. I quite clearly should have Terrestrialized that and went for the Terra Blast instead. Now, that suddenly puts me in a bit of an awkward situation because my opponent now knows that I am... My opponent knows that Gyarados is safe goggles. So, do I protect here? I think we protect. I should have bought Amoonguss really, but... And there is every chance that Gyarados comes into the Amoonguss slot, and if it isn't the Gyarados, then... Sorry, the Gastrodon. If it isn't Gastrodon and the Amoonguss chooses to stay in, then we hit it with a super effective flying type attack. So I think that's totally worth it. I do need a strategy for beating that Torkoal. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do that yet. Gyarados was one of my fire resists. Hydreigon is still a fire resist, so at least I have that option. I also have the fake out, don't I? So we're going to see a dazzling gleam here come out from the Hatterene. He actually gets a crit, which is a little bit annoying. Amoonguss goes for Mate, you just saw me avoid the Rage Powder with safety goggles. Why are you trying to spawn me? What are you doing? Come on, man. We are able to take out the Amoonguss, however. And here is the Torkoal. I actually have to switch out here. And I think I'm going to have to go into... So it's going to be Eruption plus Dazzling, right? Like, that is the play. I think I have to go into Medicham or King Gambit. So do I have to bring in King Gambit, sacrifice it, then maybe bring the Hydreigon back in? This is not the situation I wanted to be in. So we're going to see the Terastallization, most likely that Terra Fire. Gyarados goes for Protects. And Torkoal does go for that Eruption. First of all, into the Gyarados, which, as I said, we went for Protect on, so that's really cool. And now it's going to be, yeah, a dead King Gambit. I think on the next turn, we bring in the Medicham. And I basically need to make a call on whether or not he's going to click Protect on the Torkoal. Now, most people don't really know what Medicham does. So I could also go for Fake Out onto the Hatterene, actually. That's not a bad option. No, because then you just knock out the Gyarados. That's not something I can do. We will go Fake Outs into... I'm going to have to go for Fake Out into Torkoal and try and get some damage on it. Because at the moment, it's just doing way too much damage with Eruption. And hopefully, if I can get some damage off, he'll be doing a lot less damage. Hatterene goes for the Dazzling Gleam, which is going to bring Medicham... Well, it actually doesn't bring Medicham down to the Sash. And Gyarados is able to fire off the Terra Blast into the Torkoal. Medicham is still going down here. But Gyarados can go for the Protect on this last turn of Trick Room, which then, of course, invites the Hydreigon back in. And all of a sudden, we've been able to stall out the Trick Room and weave ourselves back into the game. Eruption can't miss. This is definitely a knockout. And it looks like we may have a chance. I think here I'm going to go for the Heat Wave. It is Sun boosted, and obviously Draco Meteor. Draco Meteor won't affect the Hatterene, so Heat Wave should be fairly safe. It's actually really important that I just check the speed stats of Gyarados and Hydreigon here. So Gyarados is 120, Hydreigon is 156. So what's really nice about that is that I can go for a Heat Wave, and let's say it knocks out the Torkoal, but misses on Hatterene. Well, whatever slot I aim for, Gyarados will pick up the knockout. So we'll go for the Heat Wave, and we'll go for the Terra Blast. And we'll go into Hatterene, because it's incredibly important that my opponent does not reset the Trick Room. This looks like it's going to be... Okay, I kind of thought it would be the... I thought it was going to be the... What's it called? The Gastrodon. But it's not. Hydreigon's Heat Wave goes into the Hatterene's Protect. However, we do get a sun-boosted, super effective Heat Wave into the King Gambit. And we get the burn! That's huge. I actually don't know if we were in Sucker Punch range or not. We also don't know if this is Defiant or... Oh no, the other ability, signature ability has a little notification, doesn't it, when it switches in. So it probably was Defiant, but I don't know how much a Sucker Punch would have done to Gyarados. It may have been enough to knock it out. I'm not sure. This is a relatively bulky Gyarados, so I'm really not too sure. So again, I think we'll just go Heat Wave into Terra Blast, and the opponent forfeits. So even without Amoonguss, I probably should have bought Amoonguss to this game, so I had I could spore. So even then, though, like how helpful is that really? Like I bring in the Amoonguss, right? It just gets one shot by the Torkoal anyway. Its Terra type is Dark. Actually, I think I made the right decision. Well, I must have done, because I won, and I managed to play through that Trick Room, so I will catch you in the next game. Game 2 then today, we have Hydreigon, Murkrow. I mean, it's pretty standard. Hydreigon, Murkrow, Garchomp, Goldengo, Grimmsnarl, and Arcanine. I actually really like the Mimikyu lead here. Mimikyu hits everything except the Arcanine for super effective damage, and I could pair that with the King Gambit in case he does lead Arcanine. King Gambit is Terra Water, which is really, really like lethal into this team if he chooses to lead Arcanine. I actually definitely see you leading Arcanine, actually. I actually think that's such a solid lead. And my opponent is going to think we're running Trick Room because I've got the King Gambit out with me. But of course it's Medicham that has the Trick Room. Is Medicham a good leader? I don't really like Medicham as much in this game. Gyarados is fairly solid. I think Hydreigon's fairly solid as well. Actually, I think Hydreigon's really solid. We hit the opposing Hydreigon. We hit the Murkrow because Murkrow's defenses aren't that great. Hit the Garchomp. Hit the Goldengo. Yeah, I think we've got to bring the Hydreigon. And now I'm thinking we bring a support Pokemon, right? Like, I'm not necessarily sure a sweeper is the best thing to bring here, like a Dragon-Dancing sweeper such as Gyarados. You know, there's no Amoonguss there. There's no point in bringing the safety goggles. There's a physical attacker that usually runs Clear Amulet. I don't really like Medicham. I think it's going to be the Amoonguss. So, it's going to be the Murkrow and Garchomp leading. Not really what I wanted to see. I mean, Player Up is alright here, actually, isn't it? So we could just go Player Up straight into you, although you possibly click like Protect or something. Or Terastallize. King Gambit definitely doesn't want to be in here. I could see a Terastallization plus Earthquake for sure. Do I want a Terra Blast? I think we wait for the Terra Blast. There's no way you go for Dragon Claw or anything like that, so Hydreigon looks fairly safe for me. And what I could actually do is like bring in Hydreigon, and then on the next turn switch in my Amoonguss and Protect. And that way Garchomp will want to target Hydreigon, and I can give a Rage Power plus Scope Lens or plus an attack. He actually goes for Taunt here. Now this is massive, because if Mimikyu can take the knockout, if we can connect with this Play Rough, then we restrict my opponent from being able to use Tailwind, which is massive. Absolutely massive. And I assume that if he's like Sash Murkrow, then we'll just knock him out with the Shadow Sneak. So we do take the knockout on the Murkrow, so that's massive. So that is classic best of one, right? Like in a normal situation, or in a tournament situation where you've got open team sheets, you'd be able to see that my Mimikyu doesn't have things like Will-O-Wisp, doesn't have the Trick Room. It's a purely offensive Life Orb variant. You would see that and go, okay, well I don't need to taunt it. Maybe I need to make a defensive switch, but I definitely don't need to taunt. And now, because of that, like I say, we've stopped my opponent from getting the Trick Room up. Mimikyu here is about to get slaughtered by Make It Rain. I think I could bring in King Gambit. I definitely bring in King Gambit. I don't think they'll Earthquake with a Hydreigon on the field. If they do, then they're going to Terastallize. But that would give me a really good opportunity to get off a... I'd just Protect, actually. So we can scout to see what the opponent wants to do. I think that's a good option. This also allows us not to just blow our Terastallization straight out of the way, because next turn I may decide I don't want to use it. This also means I'm taking less damage from the initial Make It Rain as well. We do see the Dragon Claw go into the Hydreigon. So I think this was a wise Protect. And are we going to see that Make It Rain? We are going to see the Make It Rain, which means on the following turn, like I said, it's going to do a lot less damage to Hydreigon because it will be at -1 special attack. And this will do next to nothing to our King Gambit here. So, if my opponent wants to click Earthquake, then they're going to have to Protect with their Goldengo, right? We didn't see Life Orb. It's most likely a Specs or Scarf variant. Probably Specs, considering they've got a Murkrow. They have no other Levitate. Oh, they do have a Levitator, but they've got Hydreigon. So they could bring in Hydreigon and click Earthquake. Do I need King Gambit for anything? Other than this Goldengo? There's no way Goldengo stays in, you know. There's no way it stays in. I'm going to use this as an opportunity to bring in Amoonguss. And I'm going to Terastallize and go for the Draco Meteor into the Garchomp. The Golden Go does indeed switch out. And it's going to be the... I don't know what this is. It's going to be the Arcanine. Arcani, I probably should have guessed that, to be fair. And that is actually going to activate Defiant. So, kind of unfortunate I'm switching out. But it was definitely the safest thing for me to do. And we, assuming my opponent's not just going to click Protect here, we will be able to get off this Draco Meteor. And Terrestrializing Hydreigon isn't bad here at all, right? Because whatever set this Arcanine starts to run, if it's got Play Rough, then Play Rough is now resisted. Fire is now resisted. Close Combat we're no longer weak to. So in this situation, Fire Tower is great for us. He ends up going for the Earthquake, which means he's going to hit his own Arcanine with the Earthquake. That is going to hurt. Oh, it actually one-shots the Arcanine. So, most likely a fast offensive variant with very little bulk. And Hydreigon hits the Draco Meteor, and that is going to be a knockout. We really pinned our opponent quite a few times. I think that the Garchomp really didn't get off any damage in this game. It's going to be the Golden Go switching in now. He's all on his own. I can just switch the King Gambit back in. And Hydreigon, I will click Focus Energy here. My opponent probably forfeits, though. They do forfeit. What a game. I think we played that exceptionally, actually. I don't think we made one bad play whatsoever. My opponent went for that taunt really early on, and it really cost them. Not letting them set up that Tailwind, and then... I don't even think if they set up the Tailwind anyway, I still think I was in a really good position, because most of my plays were very defensive plays, but... Well, that allowed me to push an offense, you know, a defensive switch or a protect, and then we'd try and get an attack off. And we were just expecting the Garchomp to do certain things, and to be fair, the Garchomp kind of fell into the trap every single time, so... Okay then, guys, so this next game is Garchomp, Vaporeon, Farigiraf, Hydreigon, Torkoal, and Breloom. So after a little think, the Farigiraf is the likely lead. I'm thinking actually with Breloom. I think I'm going to go with Medicham. Medicham has Fake Out. Actually, we can't use Fake Out into Armor Tail. We've literally just done a video using Farigiraf. Cannot do that. In that case, I'm going to go Gyarados. I like Gyarados for the ability to Breloom for super effective damage. And the Safe Goggles is really nice. Intimidate can be really, really handy as well. So I'm going to go Gyarados, and I think I'm going to go with a Moongus as well. Oh, actually, do I go King Gambit? No, I'm going to go with King Gambit, and then I'm going to bring a Moongus in the back as a switch-in case my opponent decides to leave with the Breloom. And then I need something to help me clean up the game afterwards. Now, I think I want to go Medicham, because I think a late-game Fake-Out could be really, really crucial. Although, looking at this team, maybe Hydreigon would have been a better pick. But you know what? This video has a Medicham in it, so we need to be using the Medicham. So, well, see how we get on with it. So it is going to be that Farigiraf and Breloom lead, as I go Gyarados and King Gambit. So, I'm absolutely fine with this lead. This is totally cool. Breloom's really not in a great situation. And I'm going to click Dragon Dance, even if you want to click Trick Room. Even if you want to click Trick Room, we're going to click Dragon Dance, because my Gyarados doesn't feel that threatened here. Breloom goes for the Spore. Interesting that the Breloom is faster. Very interesting. So maybe my opponent won't want to opt for the Trick Room. Or maybe that's just the strategy. I'm not sure. No, Farigiraf does go for that Trick Room, but that's absolutely fine. I'm a little bit concerned about the potential safety goals on the Farigiraf, but I think a Waterfall plus Spore is fine. There's no way Breloom stays in here. It's just offering nothing to my opponent. And it's Torkoal. Oh, maybe I should have predicted that. Yeah, I'm starting to think I possibly should have predicted that, actually. And, of course, it is Safe Goggles, just like I was running. Great. And Farigiraf is going to get a very nice Psychic off into Amoonguss. And this game has gone from a really nice lead to a really bad situation. This is a +1 Waterfall, though. Yeah, it does nothing in the sun. I think I have to go for the Waterfall, don't I? I just protect with Amoonguss. I'm really quite low on options. And it would not surprise me at all here to see them double up on Gyarados. Well, I mean, Eruption hits both of my Pokemon, but Farigiraf probably goes for the Psychic onto Gyarados. So, here comes the Eruption. We will resist it. I don't know how well we're going to take it. Oh, we don't take that too badly. I don't actually think a Psychic will... a Hyper Voice definitely won't take us out, unless you're, like, max special attack. And even then, I think it's unlikely. Yeah, Gyarados is able to hold on there and get the super effective Waterfall off, but it barely does half. This is really bad. How many turns of Trick Room are left? There's, what, 2 turns, I think? There are. Okay, so Gyarados here going to go for a Protect. Amoonguss going to go for a... I'm gonna go for a double protect with Amoonguss. Oh, we get the double protect though. We do get the double protect. Do you know what would be the most insane luck though? If Gyarados then got a double protect and Amoonguss got a triple protect. That would be wild. That would be absolutely wild. Or at least if Gyarados can pull off the double, that would be enough. I think. I think that would be enough. I think the way to beat Torkoal teams, by the way, is going with King Gambit and going for the Terra Water. I actually don't know if I can afford to lose Gyarados really because of that Breloom, but I guess Medicham should be able to deal with it. So we're going to go for the double and the triple. Come on! No, Amoonguss doesn't get the triple. Can Gyarados get the double? No. It was my only out, really. Like, Eruption was going to knock out King Gambit. Eruption was going to knock out Medicham. But Trick Room finishes now, right? So, there is an opportunity for a comeback. The Torkoal is threatened by Medicham. The Farigiraf is going to be threatened by the King Gambit. Breloom is, of course, in the back. Now, what is a little bit more threatening is that I don't know how fast are you. So you're max speed with an Adamant Nature. I believe that would outspeed Breloom. I believe. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it would. But we're going to have to be really, really careful where our Terra type comes into this because Terra, I think, is how we win the game. We're going to have to try and catch my opponent off guard a bit. Here, it's going to have to be close combat into Torkoal and Kowtow Cleave into Farigiraf. Here comes the close combat. Medicham takes out the Torkoal. Does my opponent try to set up a... try to set up another Trick Room? We will see. We will see now. No, okay, it looks like it is. Kowtow Cleave comes out into the Farigiraf, and it's a double down. And maybe Medicham and King Gambit can turn this game on its head. The sunlight goes down, it means literally nothing at this point. And it's going to be the Hydreigon and the Breloom. So, in this situation, Breloom will want to go for either a Spore or the Grass type move into, sorry, or the Mach Punch into King Gambit. I think here I want to go for the Psycho Cut into Breloom. I think you're going to Mach Punch me, aren't you? So I think it's wise for me to Terrestrialize and just go for the Iron Head. Breloom is likely going to be the Pokemon that's sashed here. The concern is if the Breloom protects. But Hydreigon is weak to fighting. So let's rely on that, shall we? Let's rely on Hydreigon being weak to fighting. Hydreigon may be very, very scared. My opponent cannot Terrestrialize here. So if we can catch our opponent off guard, there's every chance we can win this game. So, what is the Breloom going to do? The Hydreigon fires off a Draco Meteor. Medicham avoids it. And the Breloom does indeed just go for the Spore. It's able to outspeed Medicham. I guess Jolly Breloom outspeeds max speed Adamant Medicham. And there is, realistically, that's going to be game over, I think. I can't really see how I win this. Although that is our first sleep turn, so maybe there is a chance here. We are Focus Sash. We'll go for the close combat into Hydreigon. And we'll go for the Sucker Punch into Breloom. See if we can get lucky. This game is coming down to the wire, though. Although my opponent here probably just goes Spore into Medicham. There's no reason for them not to. There's absolutely no reason for them not to, actually. I really wish I went for Trick Room that last turn. The Breloom goes for Protect. Kingambit wastes another sleep turn. That's fine. Maybe we can pull this out the bag. Hydreigon goes Focus Energy. You have got some giant balls. You have some enormous balls as Medicham strikes the Hydreigon with a close combat. Medicham really showing its worth in this game. Really showing its worth in this game. And now it is down to this Breloom here. We are Focus Sashed with Medicham though. I'm going to go for the Trick Room. I'm going to go for the Sucker Punch. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go for the Trick Room. And I'm going to go for the Kowtow Cleave. The reason I'm doing that is because he ends up forfeiting. So the reason I did that was because if he went for Spore on Medicham, that gave... and Kingambit wakes up, I'm not relying on... Well, I wouldn't be able to go for Sucker Punch, right? So I'd have to go for a normal attack. So I went for Kowtow Cleave to make sure I would hit, and that would take the knockout. If he chose to go for the knockout onto Kingambit, I would go for Trick Room, and Medicham outspeeds the Breloom next turn. And the only priority with Breloom gets is Mach Punch, which we resist, and we have the Focus Sash anyway. So, I think we played that second game really well. We were in a really tight spot. But Medicham and Kingambit pulled through it together. Fantastic. So, as always, guys, a few final thoughts on the team. I think it's really, really fun. I think Medicham's a great Pokemon. I think it goes right under the radar. And it fills a role which I don't believe any other Pokemon can do in this metagame, which is Fake Out and Trick Room. I might be wrong, and I might be completely blanking on that. But I don't think there's any other Pokemon that gets it. With Pure Power, obviously, it does massive damage. You saw how good it was in that last game specifically. It was pretty decent in the first game as well. But that third game, it really came into its own. But the team overall just fits really nicely together. In some practice games, I've struggled with Dondozo, but I think that's more down to me just not understanding how to pilot this team against Dondozo, because it has the resources to do it, right? You've got Intimidate on Gyarados. You've got the Amoonguss. I would quite like to see Clear Smog on Amoonguss, really, just to help with Dondozo a little bit more. You have the Focus Energy and with Draco Meteor on the Hydreigon as well, which obviously would crit through the boosts. So, it definitely has the tools to beat Dondozo. I just think I would require a lot more practice using it. But thank you so much to Nora for releasing this team so quickly after the recent regionals. I'm literally recording this the day after, so make sure you give this team a go. Super, super fun. Highly recommend it. And if you enjoyed, smash the like button and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.